the good and the bad fats, as well as the dietary sources of the fats. My name is Subiri Obwogo. I'm a medical doctor and specialist in public health medicine. So just as a recap, there are 6 types of nutrients. We have the so-called carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Now these 3 are called macronutrients because they are required in large quantities, and they also provide us with energy. The 4th type of nutrients are so-called micronutrients. These are the vitamins and minerals, and they're usually required in small quantities, and they don't provide us with energy. The other type is water, and then finally alcohol. Alcohol is also part of some people's diet. So when we talk about lipids or fats, what are we talking about? So these are basically a family of organic compounds that are mostly insoluble in water. And there are 3 types of fats: the so-called triglycerides, the phospholipids, and the sterols. Now, triglycerides form the bulk of fats in our diet, and they comprise up to 95% of the total fats. There are basically 3 types: the so-called saturated, unsaturated, as well as the trans fats. Sterols are basically things like cholesterol, sex hormones, and cortisol. So let's talk briefly about the triglycerides because they form the bulk of the fats in the body. As I mentioned, they're divided into 3. We have the saturated, the unsaturated, and the trans fats. Now, the saturated are usually the bad fats. The reason why they're called bad is because when you consume them in excess amounts, they tend to increase the production of LDL, or bad cholesterol, which then clogs your arteries, increasing your risk of heart attacks, strokes, and sudden deaths. Now, why do you find saturated fats? They're mostly found in vegetable cooking oils, such as coconut, palm oil, as well as things like butter and margarine. Saturated fats are also found in animal sources of proteins, such as meat, beef, pork, poultry, fish. Those found in milk, cheese. Now, processed meats such as sausage, bacon, ribs are also very high in saturated fats. So the American Health Association recommends that saturated fats should be limited to less than 7% of your total calories. That's about 15 grams per day. Just to give you an example, 1 tablespoon of butter is about 7 grams. So 2 tablespoons of butter comes to almost the maximum saturated fats you should be consuming for your heart health. Now, the second type of triglycerides are the so-called unsaturated, and these are divided into 2: the polyunsaturated and the monounsaturated fatty acids. Now, monounsaturated fatty acids are also called omega-9. They are found in things like olive oil, canola oil, as well as avocado and some nuts. Now, these are the good fats. Particularly, they tend to lower your bad cholesterol, LDL, and therefore they protect you from things like heart attacks and strokes. It's recommended that you consume enough of omega-9 in your diet. The polyunsaturated are divided into 2: omega-6 and omega-3. Now, omega-6 is mostly found in vegetable cooking oils, such as sunflower, soybean, and things like corn oil. Now, remember, we mostly get enough of omega-6 from our diet. What we don't get enough of are the omega-3. Now, omega-3 are mostly found in fatty fish, such as salmon, mackerel, trout. This is mostly seafood, although Nile perch also has quite some good amount of omega-3. Now, it's recommended that you need to consume at least 1 gram of omega-3 per day if you have heart disease, if you've been diagnosed with heart disease. If your triglycerides are also elevated, you can know this through lipid test or examination of lipid in the body. So if doctor tells you your triglycerides are raised, then you also need to consume between 2 to 4 grams of omega-3 per day. Now, remember, it's better to get this omega-3 from fish as opposed to supplements. So, to cap up, basically, the bad fats and the saturated fats should be limited to 7% of the total calories. The good fats are the unsaturated, and the polyunsaturated should be about 10% of your total calories, and then monounsaturated should be about 20% of your total calories, which brings you to about 30 to 35% of total calories coming from fats. Of course, the other calories will be coming from proteins as well as carbohydrates. Now, thank you very much for listening. My name is Subidi Ubogo. I'm a medical doctor and specialist in public health medicine. You can support us by subscribing to my YouTube channel. The link is below.